Perth Linux Users Group, talking Linux and open source.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you everybody for coming along. As you all probably know, my name is James Bromberger. I'm the current Plug President. Welcome to the AGM. Today is the 8th of January 2013. Let's kick it off. So we've got a small presentation I'm doing. I'm going to ask Ewan at some stage to come up and give a couple of slides. Nick will talk slightly about the position of the Treasury for Plug. And then potentially towards the end we may have a small presentation from Alistair on C++. So, let's kick into it. In fact, there is the agenda of what we'll be up to today. Firstly, a quick welcome. Go through apologies and all the rest that you can see up there. So, welcome. Thank you everyone for your time and coming along tonight. Very much appreciated. We don't have full quorum tonight for what we needed for an AGM. As per the Constitution that we lodged January of last year, we needed 25% of the current membership, which stands at, I believe, 86, give or take. Is that right, Mr. Secretary? Around that? Which would mean we'd need about 20 to 22 people here. And we have currently, how many members, please, sir? 10 minus. Basically, that means that this meeting tonight won't be binding, and we'll have to go to extraordinary measures as documented in the Constitution, which merely means that we will have to reconvene here in a week's time, and then we can move forward with any motions. And typically what we've done in previous years has been that a minimal number of people will turn up, 2, 3, and the motion that we'll accept will be to accept all of the motions that happen tonight. So we'll try and run as close as possible to what we need to do under the Constitution, but we'll have to make that binding after we've met again next week. Anyway, let's move on. Do we have any apologies from anyone? I was going to fill that in with some names where the dots are, but I didn't get any. Did anyone see any? No? Brilliant. No one brought any apologies with them? Copies of the minutes from last year are circulated around. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to have a very quick look. What was it? It was 10th of January, was it last year? It was indeed. 10th and 17th, yes. So I think you and I caught up at City West Lottery's house last year, was it? Cold and dark as we waited outside. Does anyone have any questions over the AGM minutes from last year? Do we have any questions from our IRC viewers? Do we have anybody watching the stream? We're not streaming. Brilliant. Excellent. We are recording, are we? Yay. Okay. Do I have anyone to put the motion to accept the minutes from 2012? Anybody? Nick Bannon. Anybody like to second the motion to accept the minutes? Leon Wright. All those in favour, please raise a hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a finger, 7. You're accepting the minutes are correct? Could abstain? 1. Were you there? You were there? Were there? 1, 2, 3, 4. I was there. 5. Anyone reject the motion? None. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Business arising. Was there any business arising that we need to discuss today? If anybody would like to have a look through and see if there's any topics in there. Give it a few seconds in case anyone's got anything. Luke, is that a question? No, it's just a tut. Just a tut. And we do also, well, you know what I've forgotten? You needed something. Put it under the chair. It's a little chair. We're giving you after. Yeah. That's me always being picked up. And no better. Hang on. It's on now. On now. Testing. Sorry, we would have thought we'd have done this before, once or twice. Nothing? Brilliant. Okay. Right, so let's move on. No one's got any questions from the AGM? Oh, brilliant. So membership at about this time last year was about 76, and as you may recall, this time the year before in 2011 was about 22, 23. Good to see that membership has gone up to 86. Obviously not as big an increase over the previous year, but we've managed to maintain stable membership, which is good. We've obviously got a few issues right now with the membership database that stopped working. but it has been good to see that. Have we met quorum? Well, I said at the beginning, no, we haven't really met the 25% that we needed for this, so as discussed, we'll have to do emergency measures. Just looking back at, and we did this last year, looking back at the objects of the association, this was written back in, what, 97 or so, when Plug was first formed, and we've kept the same objects of the association over time. Educating interested parties about Linux and facilitating discussion about Linux and sharing Linux resources, but I think our interpretation these days of the word Linux there is Linux and open source software. In fact, if you look back at most of the talks we've had over the last year, we've had very little actual Linux kernel talks or distribution talks. All of the activity has been around the ecosystem of open source and free software. Whether or not that's something that needs to be changed in our constitution at some stage, or something that we just accept as the sort of broader definition of what Linux is representing in the technology ecosystem these days. But anyway, events and activities of 2012. So as a new constitution came in January, that we have a problem? We're good? Okay, cool. That took a lot of discussion and debate through 2011 for us to get to there. We were looking potentially to do another update over that. We were going to look to reduce the amount of people we needed for quorum for an AGM. We didn't get to do another update this year. It didn't come through. So that's another thing that potentially could be done in the future. Venues. We had quite a good year through the year with venues. Sex Lottery's house worked pretty well for us. However, it was costing us $90 an evening to go there. We got some pretty big meetings there. I think at one stage we had 25, 30 people turn up. But then we had the opportunity to come here to Space Cube, which hasn't cost us anything. And especially when we're having sort of 10 to 15 people turn up, the $90 becomes quite a drain on the finances of the association on that kind of membership level that we've got. So we're very pleased to be here. We have got a project underway to cable this place at some stage, which Craig Inches is running. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight to give us an update on how that is. I don't know if anyone else has seen anything recently. No, shaking their heads. So that's the update on venues. AV grant, we did get money out of Lottery West over the last year. Finally came through, some $8,000 in total, which is why we've got kind of newish cameras and laptops and stuff, which, touch wood, generally has mostly worked. We still see the odd teething issues here and there. We have now swapped, Ewan's been gracious enough to let us use his mixer, which has got a USB input on it, and also the tally lights, which are a little difficult to see on the video. I'm pointing at yes, Leon there. Yay! Exhibit A, which Ewan has actually built himself, uses MIDI to control, and is tied into the DV switcher, so as we change cameras we can see that the tally light has gone around. And that's been pretty good. I've been really very pleased with the way the AV stuff has gone. We've had every talk since March 2011, 2012, sorry, 2011 or April 2011, recorded, and they've now all been uploaded onto YouTube. In fact, I think you guys have done really well with some of the last talks. I know a few that I've not been able to get to have been on YouTube that evening, and I've been able to watch them that evening from wherever I've been. So that's truly impressive, and that's a great resource, I think, for Plug to be able to look back at the history that's happened. I mean, it might be quite flippant to say, well, we've recorded 10 people standing around in a room talking about Linux, yay! But then in 15 to 20 years' time, when you come back and you go, well, where is that? Oh, we can find that video. And we can see what we talked about. We can see how less grey we were back in the years. And it's quite something for us to have as a resource. I know previously we've had audio recordings, but actually being able to see stuff and using open source and free software to produce the videos in the entire stack has been, I think, a great achievement for everyone. It's obviously very easy to say, let's put in a grant and buy something commercial off the shelf, but the fact that we're able to do this and be able to build up the skills in what we're doing and make something that's going to be worthwhile. And it's a skill that I think potentially one day could be very useful should any large conference potentially one day come to Perth, let's say. He's looking at you. Right. Including the quiz night, which was held back in March. I'm going to host the quiz night again this year. Why not? Everybody want to do the quiz night again? Brilliant. I've got, great, you're all coming. I've already got a prize for it. As I was saying to James slightly earlier, a certain Mountain View chocolate company did a very generous offer with Bletchley Park, also known as Station X in the UK. It was the original Enigma listening post where a lot of the groundwork for breaking Enigma and other codes during the war happened. And a very famous sort of pioneer of computer science work there, a guy by the name of Alan Turing, who most of us probably have heard of. They produced a Monopoly edition dedicated to Alan Turing. So I have one of those as a prize for the quiz night. But I'd love it if people can find other prizes that we can give away at the quiz night. Jason, question with a microphone, please, just so that we can hear you and get you a lovely voice. Otherwise, you're just an echo far, far away. Turned on? Just check it. I'm going to do this. If I wander over here, let me just wander over there. Jason, there you go.
Have the previous quiz night winners got their boards
That is a
yet?
very good
Their
question.
Raspberry Pis.
They're Raspberry Pi. So
And will there be a 1-year delay on the new prize?
Well, I can remember when we were getting ready for the quiz night in 2011. In 2011, I was already getting questions ready, and we thought, let's get a Raspberry Pi. They'll be ready by Christmas 2011. And so we put the order in, and the one I ordered came back in June of 2012, and I awarded it to Mr. Henstridge here, I think it was. September, was it? We were here. I think October. It was Andrew Williams' talk on Python radio astronomy, I think. I know Ewan got the next two. Did you hand them to the...
No, I've still got them. It's actually on my slide to try and locate the other two
Brilliant.
people. So
There we
that
go.
can get them.
There we go.
So we do have them now.
So I think the next question is, should we do Raspberry Pis again for the next winners? And I'd say supply delivery options, probably, maybe that's not the best idea. But, Claire, you got Leon?
I got mine in 4 days. I ordered
pretty
it
good.
the day before, no, 3 days. I ordered it the day before New Year's. I got it the day after. 2 days after, sorry, 4 days.
This year, so only a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Okay, so their delivery chain, I guess, has improved somewhat. But we do need ideas for prizes. Anything you can find, please let us know. What else has happened? Regular talks. Who organised Paul Fenwick? I couldn't remember who actually... Was that you? Was that you? I can't remember. Maybe it was mind the size of a planet. So we had some good talks. Paul Fenwick was the talk that we flew someone here to Perth this year. And we've done that now for 2 years in a row. Obviously, in 2011, we flew Rusty Russell to Perth for what was a huge night. I think we had 80-odd people turn up. Paul, we had about 20, 25 people turn up. And it's been great that we've actually been able to do that on the level of membership we've had. Remember, membership of Plug is around $20 a year for full membership, $10 a year for concession. On 86 members, you can work out how much yearly is coming into Plug. Coming out of that is things like the PO box that we've got. As a registered association, we have a PO box. And little things like prizes for quiz nights and things like that that come out. Or registrations of domain names. So that kind of stuff. And then everything else is volunteer-based, non-profit. So any money left over is sitting in the account, of which Nick will brief us later. So there is some cost to flying someone over. Did Paul, I can't remember the accommodation, did Paul stay with a friend over here? I can't remember. He may have. So that didn't cost us anything. Literally, I think we paid for a flight. So for $400, $500 or so, we get a world-class speaker. We've concentrated on Australian talent from the eastern states to come over here so far. There's nothing to say that has to happen in the future. But we've got to be able to justify it and make sure that, A, when we get someone over here, we have enough people turn up to watch them. We don't end up with a room with sort of 5, 6 people in it, because that can be quite embarrassing. But it's been lovely to have Paul here and to have Rusty here. And did you guys all enjoy having an interstate speaker come in? Yeah? It's quite exciting. Other events, we've had the cross... now, this has never really had a good name. It's historically Port 80 plus Plug plus the UX users plus all of these other sort of smaller user groups, of which Plug at 86 financial members and some 350 people on the mailing list is actually one of the bigger user groups in Perth. Until you start looking at things like the Oracle user group, which is a lot more expensive to join but has a lot more people in it and does a lot more. But the Cross-Perth Joint Tech Group meetup thing has been happening here at Space Cubed and has typically had 80-odd people turning up. Brett Treasure? Yes. Has been organising a talk each month, which has been quite interesting. It's been an opportunity for people to mingle and talk to other user groups and basically network, which has been fun. The newsletter, which was done by JB, Exhibit A, and AB, my wife. We've done 2 copies of the newsletter this year. We were going to try and do it, but although the first one was great and we had 25 articles or so, the second one dropped down to about 10, and then when we tried to do the third one, the wheels fell off. And so there are just 2 editions of the Plug newsletter on the website. Whether or not that continues, it's obviously an effort to try and get people to write a summary of the talk after the event. And the other little articles that went around the side, we had some great stuff from Ewan on the Talliites and the AV project. And Jason, I think you wrote one, and I can't remember who else. They're all online, so please have a read of them. It also serves as something to show the membership that actually we do stuff. And you don't just have to look at the videos to see the formal meetings. You get to read about the rest of the stuff like the AV project and stuff like that that's had funding and done stuff. Infrastructure. So yeah, we did get a new server this year. Bath, which failed. So we didn't pay for it, luckily. It was a donation. So the only interruption we've had has been the fact that it was hosting our LDAP server, which had a bunch of data on it, and we've not recovered that yet. We do have a replacement solution, which we're working on at the moment. On top of that, though, we know that our web server, POT, which is at Labyrinth Data Center, Labyrinth Data Services, they've been hosting that for the last couple of years. That's about to close down, so we're going to have to move that. So we do have a solution of moving that to a certain online cloud provider, whom I shan't name at this time. No. But obviously, who is, I should say, I may be related somewhat directly to, and is generously donating to Linux user groups, as will come clear at LCA. And T-shirts happened, thanks to Ewan. The tour shirt, which I think Leon is actually wearing. Leon, would you like to model for us? Mince, baby, mince. That on the front. Come to me, come to me, come to me. Too far, back it off. Right, that side, and there we go. Well done, yay. Yeah. Cool. So thank you very much to Ewan for organising the T-shirts. Do we have some left? Which you were going to bring? Large extra. So if anybody would like them, they are how much? $25. Lovely. Yeah, they're good. They're really good. We don't have any more of these left. These shirts are the ones we did up in 2011. How much were these? These were $35 or $40, weren't they? Something like that. And we had to get a minimum of 12 done, so a bit more of an expenditure. But we broke even. Right. So as I said, we do have the continuing membership at the City West Lotteries House, CWLH. It was a one-off membership to join. But as I said, it was costing us $90 a month to be there, whereas here it's not costing us anything. But we did kind of promise to cable the place, so that's pending. And as I said earlier, Craig isn't here to talk about that. We had the grant for $8,000. It was paid in arrears, so we had to manage how we were going to do that. We may, as Nick was just pointing out, have one more reimbursement to process, which I'd kind of forgotten. So we need to look through that. Thank you to Lottery West and the Plug AV team, especially Ewan and Jason and Leon and everyone else who's turned up and you know, jumped on a camera, done a mix, helped cable up, helped not trip over all of our cables, and helped us improve what we've got. So there's been quite some interesting stuff we've bought. My favourite piece of equipment, I think, is probably the Snake, just because when we started doing this, the Snake is basically 8 cables in one cable for doing audio back and forward across the room, and that's made life a fair bit easier because we used to have to dangle many cables back and forward. Now we do much less. And as I said, it's highly successful. Plug in the Pub has continued. It's been every other month at the Moon and Sixpence, only because we've not been bothered to change where we'd go, and it's reasonably central. And I quite like the Wagyu beef burger. Oh God, that's recorded. Sorry. No, the whatever. I need to. Don't let my wife see this. Generally, it's been no organisation to manage. It's been hey, let's turn up in the pub. And if you turn up, you turn up after work. And we've had a bunch of people turn up. I think some of the notables who've turned up have been people like Claire Johnson and Gary, what's his last name? Arbuckle, who come in from Bunbury and Collie, respectively, just to come up and have dinner with us for the night, and then trip all the way back down south again for hours and hours on the road. And I guess that reminds me that Plug is the only Linux user group in WA, and we do have a lot of members now who are spread out all over the place. That was one of our impetuses for doing the video streaming, so that the rest of the membership who aren't physically in Perth, or potentially are in Perth and can't make it on the night, could actually watch the presentations, participate via IRC. But it is nice for people to come and turn up and actually just shoot the breeze on whatever kind of stuff has been on Reddit /Pinterest, whatever, of the week, and what's of interest. And sometimes it's Linux and open source, and sometimes it's tech, and sometimes it's TV, whatever. But amongst friends, it's been quite fun, so I've really enjoyed that. Yeah, and no organisation. Yay, love it. The quiz night. So as I said before, getting ready for the next one. We had less people turn up this year to the quiz night. I'm not sure why. We had about 15 people, and our break-even was about 15 people. Hiring the Moon and Sixpence as the venue that we had used for that, they request that we have around 15 people to turn up, because then they're going to get a revenue off the drinks and food that's sold. And in doing so, they don't charge us a holding fee or a booking fee for the room. If we don't have enough people turn up on the night, then they'll charge us $200 or so, give or take. Now, we've been lucky that the room hasn't cost us anything, and so it's been effectively a zero-sum game for us there. But we would like to get, well, I would like to get more people to come along. And I was talking to some people at OSDC about the quiz night over in Sydney about a month ago, and some of them actually were interested enough. They said, "Oh, I might come over for that." It's like, yes, do! Absolutely, absolutely. I've billed it as the Linux and open source quiz, but it's generally a light-hearted quiz. I mean, James, you've won it one year. The Brains Trust. Yeah, I'm sure you got the Big Bang Theory question. That was popular culture. Ooh, it's all over us. Anyway, so that's the summary of the quiz night. Some talks were getting well attended. That's kind of repeating myself a little bit here. But it has been embarrassing a little bit when we've had more crew than people in the room. And I think we had that for, I think it was my talk last month, which was last minute that we had a pull out from a presenter, and I sort of went, yeah, I'll do something, and talked about my day job. Yeah, what can we do to get more people coming along? How can we encourage people to come along? Anyone? Get the message out clearer? So, yeah, probably. I think going forward, we're going to have a lot of activity on certain projects. And we're going to need a lot of people to be actively involved, not just nominally involved. Mike? Sorry. I want to make sure we've got you for posterity.
We are generally getting at least, I've just had a look at the YouTube, and at least 59, other than your particular talk, which was the second time we had that talk in a year.
Yes.
The other minimum was 59, and everything else has been more than that, 79, 100 plus on YouTube. So whilst it doesn't look like there's a big attendeeship, we are getting online attendeeship.
And I think the video over time feeds back onto the organisation. It just keeps on giving because we keep getting views on it. James?
Just in relation to that, if we're getting a lot of people watching the YouTube videos, do we actually give details of when the next talk is
On
the
YouTube?
on the previous YouTube video description?
That's all a question of editing and where we cut and paste, I think. So maybe potentially we're cutting the end of the videos too early.
I mean text. The text
On
description for the YouTube video, just to say what's happening next. And
That's good. That's true. That's true. Yeah? Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, we talked about that. We said, yes, we should fly people in. I talked about that. 40 to 100 people turning up. But why do only 5 people from Plug turn up to the cross-tech meetup? Give or take. I mean, the usual suspects have been turning up here for the Cross-Perth Port 80 meetup have been generally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it not appeal? It does start early. It kind of starts, what, 5:30 or so? Or
it's fine if you work in the city, but if you don't, then the time to get off work and then travel into the city
True.
is...
And then by the time the presentation starts, it's normally about, what, 7, 6:30?
I usually...
Don't advertise that. Maybe that's a failing.
By the time the presentation's already started, by the time I usually get there.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Let me amplify you, or at least record you.
Like the meetup group I run, I say, we'll be there at 6, but we're not starting till 7 or 7:30.
Which is what I've generally done for Plug as well.
Yeah, it gives them a chance.
We normally say 6:30 for 7 o'clock kickoff, even though it's 7:10 tonight. Yeah, maybe that's a fair point to feed back to Brett.
Also, Alistair said there are other events on the start of the month.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, the next Port 80 Cross-Perth Tech Plug meetup, whatever, is tomorrow night, not last week, because I got home last week and went, oh, it's the first Wednesday of the month. Oh, I'm just shattered. I don't know where I got home from, because it was New Year's Day. But I guess it was put off to tomorrow, so if anyone's not doing anything tomorrow and passing through the city at an appropriate time... Sorry? Geek feminism. There we go. Yeah, wide-ranging talks. Blah, 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 blah. The newsletter, as I said, yeah, our contributions dropped off, and so we've abandoned the newsletter pretty much because we just didn't get enough people participating in the production of it or writing an article and taking a few photos. I think it's a shame because it was a nice way of documenting that's easily digestible, so maybe it's something else to look at in the future again. Blah, 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 Bath. Why am I repeating myself like 3 times? Shameless also died this year, or last year I should say, 2012. The old shell server. Yeah, that's everything, isn't it? Good things. Yeah. AV project and videos are brilliant, and I think that's going to be a nice record going forward. The quality of the talks, it's been great to actually have a talk every month. I mean, sometimes it's been, what are you finding so funny?
I was just wondering if that comment, why am I repeating myself again, was
a reoccurrence? It's going to become a meme, I'm sure. Having a talk each month has actually been a little bit challenging to find someone who would actually stand up and talk. I think from my perspective, and you may agree or disagree, if you're in the Linux and open source community and you've got an idea that you want to scratch, you want to produce something, you're going to end up talking about it somewhere. You're going to end up talking about it either at a pub with 4 people, or you're going to start to talk about it in front of larger groups as a more formal presentation. How do you go from the pub with 4 people to ending up, for example, on the stage of PyCon with 2,250 people in front of you and still be able to pull that off? And I think it's all a question of taking stepping stones through what is not a natural skill for a lot of tech people, which is to get up and talk to people. And I think Plug is a great opportunity for people to talk about something that they've been doing. And therefore, I think that giving the members an opportunity to talk about something they've been doing, as well as bringing in professionals and well-known speakers, is equally important. So if anyone has a talk inside them waiting to get out, please let the committee know. Because you're here to have an opportunity. You're here to practice it. You're here to see what you're like because it's video. You can get to see what it is that you've done afterwards and potentially improve your delivery style to be able to talk to an audience, which is a skill. I think who here hasn't learned something from the Linux and open source community over the last X years that they've been involved in it? You haven't learned anything. Jay, yes, you have. You pick up random skills, and all of them help you do something to some degree. Anyway, there have been a few very dedicated people around. I'd especially like to thank Ewan for his time this year as Vice President of Plug. He's been driving the AV crew to get our videos done, and the rest of the committee just making sure that we have had our meetings. We've had minutes that have been sent out brilliantly, thank you Peter, through the year, and our formal announcements that have had to go out on time. There's just so much that needs to get done, and everyone is a volunteer. So I'd like to thank Nick as well for the Treasury. It's just so much that needs to get done, so thank you everybody for that. Bad things. The newsletter died. Attendance has been down. We didn't do any special projects or events this year. We tried to do Software Freedom Day, but we didn't kind of get there, which was a test run, a litmus for maybe something else that might happen. So we're going to have to think about that. We didn't get the additional constitution amendments done, didn't get enough people at the quiz night, not enough people at the regular talk. So this is a general list of whining that I had built up somewhere. We didn't get enough systems administration done. We've got outstanding tasks which are urgent for us to do. And yes, we have been reducing the number of systems. We're down to how many now? 1. We just need to finish fixing everything and putting it back together again. And I think the user group membership management, the membership database and that kind of stuff is pretty critical because that's a key piece of operating an association for us. Yeah. Leon, question for you, sir.
On the sysadmin stuff, is there a task list somewhere? And because there's a couple of us, myself included, that want to help out there.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
We need to basically extend out the admin mailing list to include those people who've got time, make sure those people have got SSH keys on the appropriate systems, and then have that discussion so people are aware of what needs to be done. Nick, you've got some comments.
We've started that, but one of the things on the task list would be to install an instance of Request Tracker.
We've done that for the conference, for something else. Something else, I should say. Yes. Sorry, let me take that back out to a wide shot again. It was pretty straightforward, to be honest, once you have the right operating system, the right distribution.
Except the mail still doesn't work, so whenever you do do, and you think it does have a system error.
Right, we'll have to fix that. Again, there's tasks to be done that just need to be fixed up. So LCA, 2012 was Ballarat, 2011 back was in Brisbane, 2012 Ballarat, 2013, is it next week?
3 weeks.
2 weeks away that we have to get out there. Okay. Show of hands, who's going to LCA? 1, 2, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5? Where's the room? Yay! And hopefully a bunch more. I'm flying in on the Sunday flight. There's only one flight today on Qantas. Gets in about 11. There is a pickup service from the airport too. It will take you to your accommodation. Somehow, I think. I've spoken to Michael about it. So, and if you didn't catch the keynote speaker, that's pretty exciting, I think. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the World Wide Web, is one of the keynote speakers. So that should be pretty awesome. But I'm guessing everyone in this room who's going already knows this. Yes, general nodding. Fair enough. The open source and Linux community in Australia is waiting for LCA to return to Perth. We've had numerous discussions over the last 2 years or so about this with Linux Australia committee. And in fact, one of my secret bullet point plans underneath Let's Do the AV project was, let's get a core of people trained up who actually knew the kind of things that would need to be done for producing videos for LCA if it were ever to come back here in Perth. We'll see. Stay tuned. Who knows? You never know. So my plea is volunteer to help plug. You can nominate for committee, but obviously under our constitution, if the positions are currently filled, then nominations have closed. But volunteer to run an event. Think of something that you'd like to do. Help out on the AV crew. You might not know anything about AV now. Well, I'd like to say it's reasonably straightforward, but there's a few bits and tricks to getting it to work. It's a full live streaming TV studio, standard definition, but it works and it's free software. So if you're interested in that, then just come along and start helping out. I'm not stepping onto committee. Again, I have not nominated myself for any positions as it stands at the moment. Purely because I found that over the last 6 months since I've changed jobs, my available free time was not so copious. And my ability to get a lot of stuff done dropped off quite significantly. And I felt that I missed a few meetings because I was interstate, and I've been unable to get some stuff done. So because of that, I think it's probably time that I let other people step forward and participate in the committee and move forward. That doesn't mean I'm disappearing. I've been a strong supporter of Linux and open source in WA for many, many moons. Even when I was not here, obviously I missed my involvement here and my time here. So I'm definitely not disappearing at all, especially given anything else that may or may not happen in the future. So I've basically not put my name forward. Nick, this goes to you. I didn't actually have a slide from you, so you've got the mic. Let me shoot it over to you. That's the only slide I've got.
Yeah. Well, we spent a little cash in the past year, so our current balance would be $1,960.82 and $91 in the cash box. So 1,960 and plus 91 in the cash box. The previous year was this AGM last year was $3,299, and so we went down by about $1,300 there. But there is probably a couple of $100, a few $100 to get back in the last Lottery West rebate, and so we chose to spend a little bit on things like the flights, a bit of miscellaneous kits, the venue hires. And so that pretty much went to good causes. So I did calculate that. $9,929, and the incomings were $8,570. And so the vast bulk of that was the Lotteries West AV grant. So about 8,000 in, 8,000 out. And so the new assets being 4 laptops, 2 video cameras, and some assorted bits and pieces.
Good. Lovely. Any questions from anyone to the Treasurer? I broke that camera. How did I break that camera?
1 video camera.
Is that broken? Do you want to read it? Cool, I don't need that one. Right. Good. Election of office bearers. So all positions are up for re-election. Our formal office bearers of the executive are the chairman or president. The name is kind of used interchangeably, but in the Constitution it's president, is it? No, chairman. Chairman. And vice chair. Or vice president, as we generally call it day to day. Treasurer and secretary. We also have up to 3 ordinary committee members, making a total committee size of 7. Pursuant to the Constitution, nominations closed on the 1st of January, 7 days ago. As I said, only positions without enough nominations will take suggestions from the floor. So, who would like to be the returning officer? I am happy to do this, as I am not currently nominated for any position. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Okay. All those against? Ooh, see me later. Cool, I'll do it. Accept. So let's change roles and do it. So we need to do the election. So nominations. Mr. Secretary. Hang on. Oh, we had a microphone somewhere. Where'd it go? Nicholas. And the winner is, no, sorry, the nominations are.
The nominations are Nick Bannon and Ian de Kock.
Do we want to hear small talk from each of those? The general nodding? Yeah, Nicholas. Bannon, go first.
I would like to withdraw my nomination at this point.
Ah! Ooh.
As we have only 1 nominee, unless that nominee wishes to withdraw.
In which case, as there is only 1 nominee, I think I'll declare that our new president of the Perth Finance User Group is Mr. Ewan de Kock. Ewan, congratulations. Well done. Let's move to the vice chair. Our nominations are?
Our nominations are Nick Bannon and Luke John.
Would those people like to give a presentation? Would you like to talk? Yes. Luke is up, right? Fair enough. There we go. Luke, would you like to say something?
At this stage, I'd like to withdraw.
Falling like flies around me. In which case, with 1 nomination, Nicholas, would you like to say something? Please don't withdraw. You could withdraw, but would you like to say something?
No, thank you.
Excellent. So with 1 nomination for the position of Vice President, I'd like to formally accept Nicholas Bannon as our new Vice President of the Perth Finance Group. Well done, Nick. Where do we move to next, Mr. Secretary?
The next nominees are for Treasurer.
Treasurer. And our nominees are?
After elimination, people who have already been elected. Yes. They are Paul DeFante and Luke John.
And Luke. Gentlemen, would you like to say a few words?
First of all, let's ask if anyone wishes to withdraw, since that seems to be a
well,
bigger
there we go,
thing.
there we go. Let's do that. Who's withdrawing? Luke? Go on.
At this stage, I'd like to withdraw.
This is being recorded, so I won't say what I was thinking.
Can anyone give me a quick rundown of what that involves?
Yeah.
I'm not happy to, but...
Yeah, you got the money? You get the money?
Yeah.
You look after the money, you make sure the money's still there. You tell us the money's all good.
What, you put in a spreadsheet or online or...
Or put it in a bank account, actually. So Jason did do a lot of work on getting GNU Cache set up.
Okay, so you got previous years.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's up to when you took over, and then you need to enter all the transactions.
Which generally is going to be membership coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
It's memberships coming in, which is $20 for part-time, 86 people over the year, and then very little outgoings.
Sure.
Alistair.
I'm happy to assist the Treasurer with any GNU Cache work that needs doing, because I've been running my business with it for years, so I would consider myself an expert. I've also modified the source.
Excellent.
Sounds good, great.
I'm not sure how that goes for financial auditing if you've modified the source, but that's brilliant. Did you have something else? Sorry, Luke. No? Excellent. So where does that leave us with, Mr. Secretary? Mr. Secretary, that leaves us with Paul Del Fante. We want 1 nomination, I guess. Paul Del Fante is elected as our treasurer, so ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate Paul. Hey! we are up to Secretary.
Okay, the nominees for secretary after eliminating Paul, Nick, Ewan, and Luke. No, Luke hasn't been eliminated. Okay.
Don't exclude him too early. Let him do it himself.
My apologies. I was just getting used to all this, everyone being nominated. I was about to withdraw myself. I know, the nominees are Peter Lyons, myself, and Luke John.
Right.
I elect not to withdraw at this present stage.
Excellent. Luke, you agreed for me to win like a Cheshire cat. Oh,
At this stage, I'd like to withdraw.
fair enough. So, thank you very much, Luke. With one nominee, sorry, we have a question for the...
We could be up to 3 nominees.
For OCMs? We're not there yet.
We can take from the board.
We will be able to, yes. So with one nominee for the position of Secretary, I declare Mr. Peter Lyons is re-elected as the position of Secretary. Congratulations. Our next position is for the OCMs. Now, eliminating those that have fallen before us, I mean, withdrawn or been pre-elected to another position, we are left with how many nominations?
We're left with 2 nominations, Luke John and Alistair Irvine.
Excellent.
Since the Constitution provides for up to 3 ordinary committee members, we can certainly interpret that as allowing us to take nominations from the floor.
Exactly. So, do we have any nominations from the floor? Mr. Jason Nichols, thank you very much. Let's have his name in. Seconded by Mr. Nick Bannon. Anybody else like to nominate for OCM? No.
Yes, I now call upon
Would
anyone
our
who wishes
OCMs
to...
like to say anything? No? Excellent. In which case, with 3 nominations for 3 positions, I'll declare the positions filled as being Alistair Irvine, Jason Nichols, and Luke John. Congratulations, gentlemen.
This is your first time on the committee, isn't it, Luke?
No.
What year before?
OCM.
All right, cool.
So congratulations to everybody who's just been elected. There is lots to do. So tonight, before you go, banking authorisation forms that Nicholas hopefully has got, we'll be able to change over who's got which bits of authorisation on the bank account. There's also 2-factor authentication dongles. Mine's at home. But they're $20. I will have to bring that in, give that to the next person, and they'll have to organise with the bank to get that switched over to their account instead of the account that I have, and effectively get that deactivated. Taking pictures of the committee for the website. May as well do that up against the suitable background surface here so that the website can be updated. Real soon, the minutes of the AGM, Mr. Secretary, will have to be lodged with Ministry of Fair Trading. However, it'll have to happen after the emergency measures meeting that we'll have next week between the 2012 committee members, or some subset of, which will happen here in 7 days from now. The website will have to be updated, the email addresses will have to be updated, the results will need to be updated, announced to the mailing list, which Mr. Lyons, if you could possibly do that as existing and new secretary, and the minutes to the website. Where do we go next? Any other business? Does anybody have anything they would like to raise? No? Congratulations.
Just a big thank you, James, for the work you've done over the last couple of years in getting Plug to where it is today, and you did a fantastic job as chairman, president.
One of the two.
Yeah, so
Thank you very much. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not disappearing though, so yes, I'm not far away. Let's move on. Date of the next meeting. So generally the committee has met twice per month, and this will be up to obviously the new committee to choose how frequently they wish to meet. We've done one meeting in person after the tech presentation, though sometimes we've been finding more recently that's been a little difficult to do. But also the Mumble meeting, which was generally been Mumble recently, where we've all jumped online and had a multi-way chat, has also worked quite well. Historically, that was IRC. Sometimes it's a little bit of both, but the voice chat has generally, I found, worked pretty well because we can talk about things quite freely and openly. So setting the date of that next meeting is going to be quite important. Now, I think for the next few slides, I'm going to ask the new president of Plug, Mr. Ewan de Kock. I think I've got your slides at this point. Let's see. Yes, we do. Ewan, hand over to you. Do you want to wear the Madonna thing, or do you want to take the Madonna? 1, 2. Next is this way. Please, this way.
Okay, great. I've just got a few slides, just sort of to, as I was on the last committee, just to sort of put us in position of where we are and where we think we should be going. Really unfinished business from the last committee. What we need to be doing just to sort of provide some continuity and finish things off. The cabling, we did make a commitment. We are here. It's a really great venue. We get it for free. We really need to follow that through and not slip on it. Big thing. LCA 2014, we put a bid in. Sorry, yes?
Sorry, question on the cabling. What's the status of that? I mean, why hasn't it?
The last we heard from Craig was that he was waiting for them to complete some electrical work here before they could go in and do anything. And then things kind of got a little bit confused with the Christmas break, and we haven't really heard a lot more from that. So that's why I'm concerned that it maybe is going to get swept under the carpet, forgotten about. As a new committee, we really need to keep that alive and keep the focus. Because I think, this place is really useful for us. It's very central. Everybody knows about it now. I think we really need to push that. Yes, Nick?
I'd probably like to add to that list as an next item, just a Lotteries West follow-up. So our final rebate, and perhaps send a thank you letter, or just a document of what we got and what we've done.
Was there supposed to be a report that we were going to lodge with them?
I think we were going to put it on our website as a way to replicate what we had done. The offer we always there that we could potentially go back to the Lottery West and either show them or demonstrate to them. But I think we just finished the stuff on the website. You got something? No? No.
Yep, I totally agree. We should do that, yeah. Okay, LCA 2014. We put a bid in. Can't say anything really further, but potentially it's a really big thing. Committee, be ready, be wary. May have to be announced. It will be announced
LCA this year.
LCA Canberra in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll know then.
We'll know then. Yes. Indeed.
Yeah. 2012 quiz winners. It came up. We do have the pies. Please, can we find out who they are? I really need to.
James, who else was on your team for the quiz night this year?
He's speaking to the mic.
Paul?
I can look it up.
Paul. Right. So you're one. Yeah, no, I can't remember. Who else, Paul? Yes. How's that? First time he turned up, wins a Raspberry Pi, eventually. It'll be in the email I sent out. It could have been. I'm not going to take it.
Paul, I'll speak to you about it after, but I've got the pass for you. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, there are still some T-shirts. Anybody wants them, give us a shout. $25 each. There's probably about 6 altogether left. Mostly large. I think there's 1 or 2 extra large. Large R is quite big. Special thanks to the 2012 committee, especially those who are leaving us. James in particular, you've been a real rock in the committee, kept everybody focused, have pushed, it's been really good. Please don't completely leave.
No.
I do need that knowledge. It's really useful. Thank you. And basically, James, again, thanks to Amazon. Really coming on board with the service stuff. I believe you're doing a lot of work with that sort of going forward, trying to make it more formal. Really great. That's solved us a lot of problems that we would have had. So thanks. Okay, things we need to do. Talks. Like I've been doing a talk a month. It really has been our lifeblood. I mean, that's where the only time we really get together. The AV project is centered around that. It's a big part of what we do. The whole link up with the tech meetup groups that we have here. We did the Perth Startup Weekend. All that sort of stuff, all the talking and the interacting is really useful. So to the new committee, let's really keep that up. Anybody who has people who want to talk, anything they want to talk about, we really need interesting talks to have. Or just any talks. Any talk is interesting if the person's keen on it. Again, suggestions to bring in a speaker from outside. Traditionally, we've been doing one a year. Let's try and do it again. Ideas, anything anybody wants to put forward, great, go And then just the projects we've been running. The AV project, as James mentioned earlier, it's a huge success. We've had the AV grant, we've got some nice kits, we're managing to film stuff, we're getting a presence on YouTube, we're getting hits on it. It's really good. Let's keep growing it, let's do more stuff with it. I think there's a lot we can do. FreeMotion, another open source project where we can really explain what we're doing, particularly on the streaming side. We can, that's great. Faster sound, that's still a problem we have. It's just something we need to work at, repackaging maybe. Blackmagic devices, getting HDMI in, moving away from reliance on DV type stuff. Also something for the future. Blackmagic box doesn't cost a lot now. Let's get one, let's play with it, let's move forward. It's on the shopping list on that. Post-processing. I know we try and do everything on the night, get it up on YouTube, but Jason's already done some really good stuff that he puts at the front of the videos now. It adds a level of professionalism. As somebody mentioned tonight, put the date for the next talk on it as a little bit of text at the end. These little things we can do. It's not a lot of work, but it's just ideas for the project.
That's I'm really impressed with the pre-roll and post-roll that Jason has been. The pre-roll, I think, just basically, Jason, you are the voice of Plug now.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, Jason.
On the YouTube views, I just want to brag because I had it up. There's been 2,400 views.
Wow. Yeah,
so it's great people are viewing it. I mean, certain things are quite popular, like the Bitcoin one and the Startup Weekend stuff, which is not strictly Plug, but we did the videoing for it.
Yeah. That's really good. New Plug projects. Let's do some more fun stuff. I mean, the AV is one thing. There's a core group of people that are really interested. Anybody else is welcome. If people have ideas for other projects, I mean, Linux can do so much. Let's try something else. Let's expand on what we're doing. That's why we all come here, for the fun of it. It's not business.
I had an idea, and I did talk to Luke briefly last year, but because I run the meetup group, I was going to try and have a sort of like a Software Freedom Day meets business. People can showcase their web stuff and anything they want, but try and get a whole bunch of people along maybe where we could generate some stuff for business and community and give a Software Freedom Day all at once, maybe get some more members and stuff. So that's one idea I'd like to do this year. So
Great, good.
I might harass Luke and see if he can help me maybe, but that's a smart idea. Shouldn't take too much. So.
It's all welcome. Great. So that's really all I've got to say. Let's keep doing what we're doing and have some fun. And thanks, everyone.
Everyone next to it? A slide or two of mine. Yes, there we go. Right. I'll just stick with this. I've got this now. So in conclusion, thank you everybody for coming along tonight. Obviously I appreciate it's a bit of waffle going on about some of the stuff we've been doing, but a lot of it happens out of sight and out of mind of the membership, so it's nice to be able to talk about it once in a while. Please volunteer to run a Plug event, as Ian just said. Volunteer to give a presentation, give your feedback. I mean, Plug is all about the membership. It's here to do what you want it to do. If you just want to go to the pub and hang out in the pub and talk, shoot the breeze about things that have been happening, that's fine. If you want to do something else, do it. But please renew your membership. It's $20 a year, and that's pretty cheap for a user group. Although we don't do any formal program of recognizing members or little badges on LinkedIn or things you see or things like that, which are all things that could happen. You could do something like that and have a professional membership category if you wanted to. But keeping that small amount of money coming in actually keeps the lights on, keeps Plug operating. The PO box is a couple of $100 a year. There's a bit of postage here and there for stuff that needs to be submitted to fair trading. Little things. And watch out for big Plug news coming up. So I'm sure that this year is going to be a huge year for Plug. There's a lot to do, so we need all of the volunteers, enthusiasm, ideas that we can get from people. And now for something completely different. Do we have enough time? We've got about, 15 minutes, will we, tonight?
Yeah, I was expecting 20.